Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between, so yeah, we got a Christmas Story sequel, and not the other ones that no one else really had any involvement with. So yeah, pressure's on to one of the greatest Christmas films of all time. Yeah, I've watched it. It's streaming on HBO Max if you want to watch it, right now. It's not even in theaters, to my knowledge, unless there's special screenings. But I don't know. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, so here we go. A Christmas Story Christmas. All right. All right. So, A Christmas Story Christmas takes place like 31 to 33 years after A Christmas Story. And it follows adult Ralphie. And adult Ralphie, he's writing a book, he's trying to be published, and his family's given him like this year nest egg to publish a great story and make success for their whole family. And then in this process, a great tragedy is heard, which is in the premise, literally on IMDb. So the old man, his father, has passed, and they have to go back to their hometown and have the perfect Christmas because the old man loved Christmas, apparently. Uh, this movie is actually a decent time. I enjoyed it. While it has okay, here how did I explain it to my mother? It's a bipolar film. There's moments where it hits and it hits hard and it hits good. That's that one through line. And then it has the moments where it's trying to be a Christmas story and it misses entirely. It just doesn't even hit the mark. It's not even on the playing field. And that's where you're like, what are you doing? But again, overall, I will say outright, this is a good movie, and that was my shock because I do not envy the filmmaker who had to make this film because you're being told that you have to follow up one of the greatest movies of all time and one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. And you're like, yeah, just follow that up, make a legendary movie. They did bring back the original kid cast, they recast the mother. As to why, I'm not sure. I think maybe she just retired and is like, yeah, I'm done with this shit. So that's probably why. But the kid cast coming back was really neat as well as adults and meeting them as adults. This movie is different in every regard in terms of it hits differently, okay? As a kid, you watch A Christmas Story and you love A Christmas Story. And I'm again just going based on the narrative alone. This one is more for you grew up with A Christmas Story and now you're in the adult world, which hits a little too real. And here we are. And that's this movie. Cinematography wise, in the beginning, it kind of had this modern-esque feel, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then when they got to the hometown, y'all, I tell ya, it hit like a Mack truck, the nostalgia. They used lenses. I don't know how to explain it on a technical detail for like for people who don't understand film, but they use certain apertures, they use certain filters, they use certain lenses that get you to that place of this is the same world as A Christmas Story. They just kind of upped it a bit. And it hit nostalgically real hard. And it's literally on that technical of a detail, is that they changed it up. The second they got to the hometown, Melissa Gilbert, I want to say her name is, was recast as the mother. And I didn't hate the recasting. I thought it was fine. Um, it was nice to have the mother character. I would have liked to see, I think, again, her name is Melissa Gilbert. Um, but overall, it's not a bad recasting at all, and it emphasized a little more of the comedic angle. Higby's going to all these places, the Santa Claus stuff, the nostalgia's all there. Where I'm saying it misses is they do some weird creative choices, like for instance, the dad, Ralphie. still has his little imagination sequences. Well, that was coming from the mind of a child in the first movie. Now he's a grown man, so had you upped the imagination to like an adult standard where maybe it's just an over animated version of what you were doing, it would have made sense. But when you're doing like, oh yes, and doing the over dramatic thing, you're doing it for nostalgic purposes. You're not doing it for the benefit of the story. And that's a problem. But again, in the beginning, that was more heavy-handed, and I was like, okay, this is a little bit odd because a grown man, it's now just weird that he's having these fantasies. But had they just toned him back a little bit, and again, this is coming from a filmmaker's perspective. That being said, throw a rock and you'll hit a better filmmaker than me. But uh, I would have toned the fantasies back or passed it on to the kid. Like have his son and daughter have their own fantasies instead of Ralphie. And maybe Ralphie has one or two that are a little more toned back to show that maturity happened. But it just feels weird when Ralphie, as a grown 50-something-year-old man, is like, and they're like, Ralphie. And he goes, oh, yeah. Anyways, it just, that didn't make sense. Plot wise, great. It was a solid time, and you knew exactly where the plot's going. But this isn't one of those movies where you're going, oh, I want to know the big reveals of what's happening. You'll figure it out within like 15 minutes what's going to happen in this movie as a through line, and it it works in the end. Again, seeing all the friends in more of an adult context works really well, and they have a couple dumb moments, some really touching ones, and these movies are always why this is actually a proof positive movie of when you grow up with something, why it can be hard during the holidays for people who maybe had someone who don't anymore, and seeing this adulthood, and they explain it in the narration, which is also nostalgia bomb and perfect. Um, and where you maybe you see what you want and you don't have, and you may never get. And it hits hard in that regard. And so if you're sensitive to that, you might pull back a little bit. But I am a sucker for Christmas stuff, and it hit where I live on a lot of that of what I thought I had and wish I had. Anyways, yeah, this movie overall is actually really good. The first third of the movie is a little bit rough, and I wish I could go back through and maybe recut it. But the second half, fun. And then they do a thing, and again, every kid came back. Scut Farkus was so satisfying to have back. And when Scut Farkus's moment comes up, they have a very adult realization of what they had as kids. And it's so good that I was like, this is really well done. And then again, last third, Hail Mary attempt. They pull it off. And this movie is solid. Will I watch it as much as A Christmas Story? Probably not. But if, like I told my mom, if we were like, oh, let's do a family double feature of this movie, I would 100% be on board because it really did a good job. It understood the narrative and it had a good time with it. So, that being said, A Christmas Story Christmas, while it is streaming, so I can't really like give it like a big screen worthy thing, I'm going to say it's big screen worthy. All right, guys, gals, and everything in between, did you enjoy A Christmas Story Christmas as much as I did? I hope you did, because I think the movie was pretty damn good. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I got plenty more videos coming to you. Also, quick update, Black Friday haul. Mark has been kind enough to loan me his laptop while I'm having all these computer troubles. So I should be able to get a standard format Black Friday haul video to you next week on Black Friday. So I'm, again, not promising anything because, the world is a crazy place. But it's looking like I'll have a standard video for you on that one. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos coming to you. Love you guys. Oh, yeah.